Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome to our first webinar for women leading into the future. I'm Indy Stern.
And I'm Annie Callis, and welcome.
Welcome. You have come to this webinar. You were invited to a webinar that was supposed to be me and Linda Gale. We were supposed to be having the webinar together. This first one did a lot of advertising, but Linda woke up today not feeling well. She felt the big pains in her neck. She can't really move. So I reached out to the rest of the women and women leading into the future. I said, who can support us now? And Annie said, first thing, not a minute went by with Annie saying, I'm in, count me in, I'll support you. So together, Annie and I are going to do this great webinar, our first one in the series. Before we start, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy day to talk to us about leadership. I don't know where you are in the world, but we are an international organization, Women Leading into the Future. I'm here in Israel. It is 12 noon my time. And Annie, you're in Australia, right?
Yeah, I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and it's 9 p.m.
9 p.m. So I don't know what time it is where you are, but we really, 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 really do appreciate you taking the time out to be with us and to really go into your leadership, own your leadership and learn more about it with us. You want to add something, Annie?
Yeah, I actually want to add, the title of this webinar is oh my God, I just had a mental. What create your leadership style and your own destiny, and what we're talking about is leadership and how fantastic it is to actually be part of a team of people that support each other. Because if we weren't part of this group of ours, then you would have had to do this on your own. And I think it's something we're going to be discussed today, how important it is to have a support system that you can bounce off ideas and you can bounce off challenges that you have, because everybody's pretty much gone through similar things, but everybody deals with them differently, and everybody is a different type of leader. So instead of competing, I think it's really good to learn from somebody else, which you can introduce into your life. So I think what's just happened tonight is almost perfect, no such thing as perfection, but almost perfect for what we are going to be talking about today, isn't it?
It is, and it's amazing. It is true leadership. You talk about working in a team and a team of leaders and like-minded people. But Annie, I just have to give a special, shout out to you, because I know also this is your first webinar and you didn't even hesitate. So that is a sign, in my opinion, of a real leader who is committed, takes responsibility, is part of a team, and is willing to do whatever it takes, even if the little voice might be going crazy in your head. So that is really a fantastic example of true, honest integrity and leadership.
Well, thank you very much for that. And if I can return the compliment, I met you in a mastermind about a year and a half ago, and I was so grateful to be in this mastermind, because if I didn't belong to that mastermind, I wouldn't have met you, and you changed my life. You changed my business. You changed my financial life. Because you do a lot of things. You're a jack of all trades, aren't you? But you do. Your financial coaching and your marketing coaching has helped my business. So for me, there was no hesitation to get on this. I didn't even think, oh my God, I've never done a webinar. I just went, you know what? Tell me where to click and I'll come, because ultimately this is about giving value to people, and there's many people out there who want to understand what their style is, or they want to create a life, and just everything that we want to talk about today is, when I just in this moment when I thought about it, that's how we met, and we've been working together now for a year.
Yeah.
I think we might need to do our Annie and Mindy show with a glass of champagne.
Sure, anniversary.
Yeah, so let's just go back to this webinar.
Okay,
So, yeah, so I just want to say thank you for trusting me to be on this with absolutely no webinar knowledge. So
but you are a true leader, so the knowledge is internal. It's inside of you. So
thanks.
just to clarify with everybody, this is the subject matter for today. You know, we're here to talk about defining your leadership style and to create your own destiny. And we want to go through basically 3 different steps that we think are important in doing that, in creating your own style. So how to step into your power, how to increase your influence, and how to never be afraid of taking the lead. Those are going to be the topics of discussion. But for this to be really, effective, and you guys will see in all of the trainings we're going to be doing, all the webinars we're going to be doing, we really like to keep the energy high. Try to get the energy high. And one of our ways to do it here in the webinar is by asking questions and getting a response from you. So there's a really nice section over here on the right-hand side of the webinar for chatting. So if you want to keep the energy high, when you keep the energy high, you actually learn more, you're more focused, you absorb more material. It's the process of learning is much, how would you even say it? It's a deeper process of learning when you have high energy and when you write things down. Those are 2 really big tips that I can give you to keep yourself awake, involved, focused. So please, right here in the chat, any questions you have, whatever comes up, please respond to any questions that we might ask here in the chat. And you can start by saying in the chat, what are we going to say in the chat? Energy. Type in the word energy in the chat so that we know that you are with us, and then we'll go into the subject matter. Cool?
Yeah, cool. Well, just to give them an example. I mean, I think that both of us have pretty high energy. But what if we started this with, well, today we will be talking about leadership, and we are really excited about it. So I think people will just say, okay, I'm out, I'm going to go Facebook. So energy is really important, and leadership requires energy. Absolutely requires energy. Like learning requires energy, relationships require energy, friendships require energy. Everything
Money requires energy.
Sorry, money.
Money requires energy as well.
Absolutely. So leadership requires energy, and creating requires energy, because you can't create anything if you have no energy behind it. Then it's just a wish, and you're going to keep on dreaming about it, but nothing ever happens. So you got to have energy behind it. So those of you that are watching, can you just type in energy into comments box below so you know we are with us? And yeah, Mindy, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. So this is the agenda. I might flip back and forth to remind us of what we're speaking about, but I think it's really, the energy will be much higher if you guys see Annie and I. So where are we going to stop it? Okay, so the first subject is how to step into your power. This is a really interesting one because the word power there is, I think it's misleading, because we think that leaders need to be powerful, and then we have the big image in our heads of, okay, powerful, men, masculine, and I think that pretty much that's what we're taught, because most of the leaders out there really are men. And one of the things that prompted us, that we're a group of 10 women, prompted us to get together in this organization, Women Leading into the Future, was just that the role models, the mentors, the teachers, the people that you're seeing in seminars and personal development are primarily men. But we're leaders also. Women are leaders also. And they have a different kind of power. It's not that power, that aggressive power out there. It's more of, I don't know, it's more of that, when you stand strong in a place and you're firmly rooted in the ground and you know exactly what your position is and you're confident. That's the kind of power I think that we have as women.
Well, it's, it's something that I learned not long ago. And even though I knew the words, but on this occasion, there was like this really distinguished aggressive versus assertive. So assertiveness can be quiet, can be very centered, can be very certain. Aggressiveness comes from emotion, because you gotta make the noise to create the outcome that you want. Whereas assertiveness, to me, it's a self-assurance that I know what I'm talking about, and I know what results I want to achieve. So I am sure about that. So I think with leadership, I think men should lead in their masculine and be who they are. They were born masculine, lead with your masculine. Women should lead in their feminine. Okay? Because we are, I understand this whole equality and this and that. I think when it comes to the workplace, and I do believe that if you have the same qualifications, you should be paying equally. But that's as far as I go. I don't do men against women, women against men. I just am not interested in that, because I think we all have our place on this planet, and we were built the way we are built for a particular reason. So why don't we use our gifts the best way we can? So this reminds me, can I share a story?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so this reminds me when I was about 22, so that was 31 years ago. Okay, I know you people are doing the maths right now. So 31 years ago, I was working for this small financial company, and we were doing factoring, which is like a third-party financing. And I had a stunning boss. So it was just the two of us, and I was doing all the data entry and all the paperwork and everything else. And I don't know, she was doing the business. And she was beautiful, elegant, sensual in her appearance. She was beautiful, but she was so aggressive, and I was terrified of her. She started having a go at me maybe within a week of me being there. And no matter what I did, she kept on having a go at me. And at the time, I was fairly timid. Can you imagine that? Annie Callis timid. So I was really timid. And at one point, she actually called me into her office, and she said, I don't want you to wear your red dress, your blue leather skirt, your this top. And I said to her, you can't tell me what to wear. She goes, yes, I can. And then when I applied for holiday, I bought my ticket. I was going to fly somewhere beachy. And the day before the holiday, she said, you can't go. I said, what do you mean? I said, she said, you can't go. And I was broken. I said, oh my God, I've spent the money on the accommodation and the flights. So it just so happened that the owner of the business, because there were other small businesses within this big office, right? So he walked past, and I was working in front of the kitchen where they made the coffee. So he went to make a coffee, and he saw me so distraught. He said, in my office now. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to be in trouble. He said, tell me what happened. Well, I'm supposed to go on holiday. And he goes, it's 5 to 5. Get your stuff. Have a great holiday. I'll deal with her. Right? So I tell you what, when I came back from holidays, the daggers, oh my goodness. However, when the company closed down, I'm the only person that they took with them to the next company.
Wow.
So I think you got to stay true to who you are. And I'm a girl, well, a woman. I'm feminine. I love being in my feminine. I like long hair, doing my nails and all of that. That's my feminine side. But that doesn't mean that I can't be certain and assertive, and when I need to, I can make a point. But it's how you do it. You can do it with an elegance. You can do it in your feminine without hurting anybody. Because when there's conflict, it's just misunderstanding. So as a leader, you got to understand what is happening around. So step into your leadership, even if you don't have a leadership role, but you step into your own leadership as a human being. So that's how I.
That's so cool that you said that, Annie, because it's right. I think that we are all leaders. We are all leaders, whether we have a position at work that's a leadership or a management position, but we are leaders at home. We raise children. We're in our communities. We go to the schools. We have to deal with teachers and after school care. And then we deal with suppliers. We deal with people who are fixing our homes and taking care of our cars. And everything you do is a matter of leadership. It's just a matter of how you do it. If you are taking the lead, if you are making your point heard to someone else, if you're trying to influence them to do what you think is important to do, that is leadership. So whether you're leading yourself and your family, or you're leading your own business, or you're leading a company, it's stepping into the point that you said that this is who I am. So there's an issue of knowing who you are. Then there's the issue of this is how I think things should be, how I think things should look, how I think things should feel. That's your mission. So you know who you are. You're authentic who you are. You know where you're going. You know what's important to you. You know what your values are. And you are trying to influence, to gather, to bring those people around you in your environment, whatever that environment might be, from where they are today to that greater goal, to that mission. And the mission might be just, fixing the car, or doing the gardening, or it can be like we want to transform the human race. We want people to have happier, healthier, wealthier lives.
Yeah, and that word influence, like sometimes people take that out of context. Influence, are you trying to influence me? Well, yes. And I'm the key person of influence, KPI, they always have KPIs at work. KPI really can stand for key person of influence. And the influencing is there for the common good of the family, of the business, of the company, to fulfill on the mission, of whatever that entity is to fulfill on the mission. So our role is to actually influence positively to, for people to see the benefits, where there's a win-win for both parties.
Win-win for all parties. I like to say win-win-win, because, we talk about you want to have influence on yourself. You want to live your happiest life. Okay. So first of all, you have to define what that happiest life is. But then you want to bring other people into living that happiest life also for them, where they are also happy. And then it expands out into the greater community. Because if you and I are happy in our relationship, whatever we're doing, our energy changes. We bring other people on, and it has that ripple effect. That has that ripple effect, that the environment starts to vibrate at a totally different level. And that's how we actually transform the human race. That's how we transform society. That's how we make people happier. Because when you start off with the core, who are you at the core? What are your values? What is important to you? How do you want to live your life? And then again, the mission and it's mission driven. You can't help if you are, we say step into your power. If you are clear and you are confident about that is the basis, then anything can happen. Anything can happen. Just like today with you, Annie, we have a mission to work as a team of women leading into the future. And the mission was today to have a webinar, to have our first webinar in our community. And it wasn't an issue for you. We needed to do it. There's someone that had to step up. And that's what leadership is, because the mission is greater than the actual technical aspect of, okay, how do I get into a webinar? Okay, how do I present myself? That thing becomes small when you're faced with a greater picture, with clarity. I think clarity is the word I would use.
And if for those of you that are listening, or you're watching this, if this is something that is singing to you, put in a comments box, influence. Put in there if you feel that you are actually influencing people out there, well, put in a comments box so you know that you're with us. So, hey, there you go. Hello. Hi, Van. So, welcome to the webinar. Okay, so I really wanted to talk about this stepping into your power, because you know what? When I started my journey in personal development, I didn't do it on my own, and this is something that I really would like to talk about, is how important it is to have support around you. I found that every time other than one time where it was just the two of us, so I had a life coach, so it was just her and me. So that was for 10 weeks. However, thank you, Stephanie. However, anything I did after that, I always did it in a group. And I just found that I was forever masterminding with somebody. Because what's masterminding? It's actually just getting all of your knowledge together and sharing and learning from each other and having that support. And I really believe, like, when you're on your own, and there's a lot of solopreneurs, and they're on your own, but a lot of solopreneurs, they belong to various groups because they need the support, because otherwise they're always alone. And when you're alone, you only know what you know. And that will only take you as far. Right? So if you want more growth in your business, and if you want more growth in yourself, first and foremost, then you want to be around with like-minded people to bounce off. And I can tell you, I've had groups of people that I had to leave because there was no growth happening anymore. You know, I don't want to know how you clean your toilet. You know, I know how I clean my toilet. And okay, you bought a new smelly thing, great, thank you, I wrote it down, and then I want to move on. I don't want to talk about it again and again. I want to know, okay, so what are your dreams, what are your values, what do you want to do? Now, not everybody has that type of conversation, but if you are that type of person, then you want to find that group, you want to seek it. Yeah. So I don't know about your experiences, but I know that I have been in a lot of groups, and I felt I belonged, and I felt supported. And when I didn't understand, there was always somebody who was there to say, well, have you considered that? No. Okay. You know, so it's done. How about you?
First of all, I want to ask the people, how many of you want more growth in your life? How many of you want to feel that you are on mission and you want people to go with you on that mission?
Yeah. Say I in the comments box.
Yeah, you can say I in the comment box. That works too.
We are so used to going, how many of you put their hands up? Because this is how we facilitate. Put in a comments box below I. How many of you would like more of what
you can write? Yes, I do, which is great. Totally agree. Annie, thank you. Okay, so what was I going to say? What was
I was asking you about what was your support groups?
My biggest growth ever came when I started to work in masterminds, in groups, small people. Have a team. So, you know, we always think that the team is the people that are working under us or parallel to us, and they have to be in our business or in our life. But my best team now is I work with a lot of people in this organization called Blair Singer Training Academy, and I work with you guys in Women Leading into the Future, and we are a team. We support one another. We are all have our own little individual missions, but we all have a greater mission as well, and help one another to grow. More than just ideas on how to grow, we also keep one another accountable. So it keeps each one of us on track. How many of you want to be held accountable for your success? How many of you want people to say to you, okay, I'm looking at you. Are you taking the steps you need to take?
I put accountable in the comments box. Lorena just said, love the comment about toilet products. Absolutely agree. Thank you.
So us as leaders, the thing is to have, first of all, be very clear in our core, integrity, who we are. And we don't have to be masculine. We can be exactly who we are. We can be leaders. You know, as women, we're nurturers and we have more compassion. You know, the Dalai Lama says, and this is how we actually got our name of Women Leading into the Future. Thank you, Stephanie, for bringing this to our attention, is that the leadership, the future will come from the women, because the women come from a place of compassion and nurturing. And that compassion is actually going to help spread the energy of love and peace in the world, whereas women know how to make peace and men know how to make war. And nothing against the men, but we've been conditioned to think that we have to act a certain way as a leader. And I'm trying to say to you guys that you have to act exactly how you are. If you are in integrity with who you are and what you want to happen and what your values are and what you think is right, that is the basis of good leadership. Yeah. And then you'll be able to influence people from a place of heart. You know, that's the compassion. That's actually a very feminine way of doing things. You know, men work more from the head and women work from the heart. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's really good because people need that compassion and care and love and nurturing in order to grow, just like a plant.
And would you agree that if you look back down history, and all the way back to the caveman, the men would go out to hunt and the women would gather. And the women would gather together, and they would, with their warmth and their nurturing, they would take care of the family, of the fire, of the greens or whatever, the grass that they were collecting, whatever. But in all of that, they were always together and they were talking. And you even see it in the movies, because clearly I wasn't there, I didn't live back then. But back in the day, when they used to go and wash the clothes on the rocks down the river, they would go in packs and they would be smashing so they were never alone. They were always together. They were singing together, dancing together, talking together. So in today's age,
and helping one another, take care of the kids, do the laundry. You weren't that isolated. Women work best in teams, in groups, because they have that accountability. I would never do anything, Annie. I would stay up for days and days and days if it was something that I needed to do for you. I might not do that for myself, but definitely I would do it for you, and I would do it for the other women in our team. And I think women are like that. They put themselves last. So when you're in business for yourself or talking about a career for yourself, you're always thinking about everybody first and then putting yourself last. So, but when we work together as a team, and this is what really exciting, what we're doing together and Women Leading into the Future, is because when we work as a team, we are stronger, much stronger than all the parts individually, exponentially more stronger.
So if this is singing to you again, put the letter T in the comments box below. T for together.
Together.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we kind of looked at the femininity, and we looked at like women are different leaders from men. How about, this is something that we talked about today in our podcast, the importance of accountability and the importance of accountability, especially when you're in a group.
Yeah, I think accountability is really important because it moves you forward. Like I said, women put themselves last. So I'll take care of my kids first, and I'll do the laundry, and I'll do what my boss wants me to do, and maybe I need to help my husband, and the house needs to be taken care of, and the car needs to be taken care of, and what else do I need to do? My business needs to be taken care of, my secretary, my friend. We're always out there taking care of somebody, but where are we taking care of ourselves? And I think this idea of accountability is keeping me on target for my goals. Helping me put the focus on what I want to achieve and how I want to get there. And if I have to answer to somebody, then I'm more likely to stay on target. Because if I just have to answer to myself, well, my kids are more important than I am, and the whole world probably is more important than I am.
Did you see what Stephanie said? Women are collaborative versus men are competitive.
Yeah.
So the C word.
Yeah.
So I think it's and it's really interesting, because if you look at it, it's very interesting, because when you go out, say for example, you go out, and when I was younger and I was a disco bunny. I used to work in a nightclub as a dancer at one point. And it's really interesting when you sit and you observe, and I loved sitting in a corner and observing people, and how women used to always check each other out. Look at her hair, look at her nails, look at her clothes, look at her this. But I think once you go past that stage, you actually become very nurturing to other women. And I remember when I was at that stage, I always used to meet boys, like men, and I said, why can't I meet a girl? I would like to actually meet another girl, just to have another friend. It's like, okay, so when you go to clubs, the boys come and pick you up and all that kind of stuff. But I was always sort of seeking female companionship, like friendships and stuff like that. So it was really interesting, back when we were younger, there was a lot of competitiveness between the women. But I think I also think in this day and age, there's a lot of, we have a lot of opportunities to grow. You know, personal development has really taken the world by storm, I believe, in the last 10 years or so. So we have opportunities to grow, and somehow our inner spirit is going, I can do that. I can go and learn that. And once you start with one, your Pandora's box opens up and then you want to know everything.
Yeah.
But through learning to become your own self, and as you said, step into your power, you are able to find joy in the companionship of other women all over again, you know, and we are all on the same journey, and we celebrate the wins of each other, like us girls in our women's group, Women's Leading into the Future. I mean, everybody is doing, at times, we know when we're doing webinars, we know when we're doing events, and everybody's going power whoosh and wish you all the best. And then we debrief what's happened. We have our own meetings, don't we? And we're always sharing our wins, and everybody's celebrating and everybody's happy. There's absolutely no competitiveness in here. None.
Yeah.
That in itself is very, very powerful, because that means we know who we are and we know what we do, and what we do matters, and that's it. And how can we come together to create an even bigger effect?
Right.
Not just one drop. Imagine you drop, how many of us? There's 9 of us or 10 of us, right?
10 of us.
That's 10 rocks that get into that water. There's much more. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way you start to create influence, to group together. I think women also, I wanted to say, as you become more mature, but maybe it has to do with also having children and the need for it. But maybe before it might be very anthropological, that before you're married, before you have a family, you're competitive because, for survival of the fittest, you want to get a man, you want to have kids, you want to have a successful man, you want to have a good life. But once you have kids, you need help. You need advice, you need friends.
Yeah. Okay.
Life changes.
Yeah.
But then you have more growth, and that place where you stop being competitive and you start being collaborative, as Stephanie says, that's when actually the growth happens. That's when you actually come into who you are and start growing and have more influence. And we want here, one of the things that we promised here in this webinar is to talk about how you can create more influence. So if I may, I'd like to show a little bit of a model that we learned from Blair Singer. It's a model of how to have more influence. He calls it having more power, okay? But I think that in this framework, when we're talking about women, I think power is a good thing, but it might be, like I said at the beginning, it might be, the word might be too, having a connotation of being aggressive, like you said, Annie. And what we really do, we really want to have more influence. We want to impact people, transform lives, have a better lifestyle. So when you're starting off really at the beginning and you want to have more power, more influence, what do you think the first step to do is? Number 1 on the hit parade. Number 1 on the hit parade. If you can write down in the comments what you think it is, you'll never guess, because I would never guess.
I thought you were asking me.
I think you know the answer. The first step, it looks to me backwards. Are you reading this forwards? Because it looks to me like it's backwards.
It's invisible. It's, invisible.
Invisible. The whole idea when you want to start to create a sense of power and influence is first to be invisible, to get into an environment that you want to have influence and learn about it. Ask questions. Serve. The whole point in this part of being invisible is to serve, is to learn, is to see how you can be of assistance, help, understand what the needs are, understand how things work in that environment. So we call it invisible because we're actually not contributing yet as a leader. We're not yet a leader in that environment, but we are an observer. We're a listener. You want to add something to that, Annie?
No, I think you pretty much summarized it. And Stephanie just put a message up there. Influence is also about role modeling, and we are always role modeling for others, particularly our kids. And I think this comes down to legacy, the legacy that we leave behind through our children. For those that have children, for those that don't, but they will influence. They could influence the children of other people. You know, I have my own kid, but I've got these friends, and both of their kids, they follow me on Instagram and they like my posts. And they teenagers, and you go, and I ask them, I say, how come you like? And they've been following me for years, and I go, how come you like my post? And they say, we like what you say. Wow, right? So I think it's important that we, and as you said, first we were invisible. I was invisible, but I kept on putting and serving through my posts, through my videos, through the quotes that I've put up there, and people started to follow because clearly there was a message, there was something that was making a difference to them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so many of them said, oh, I so needed that. How did you know? I don't know.
Being invisible is important because you learn a lot of things. You know, when I first started working many years ago, I was in an organization in high tech, medical industry. And I was in an organization and I started young, right out of school. I got my master's in business and they kept me in this kind of like, you know, secretarial type of position. Although I was there to be customer support. You know, they hired me as a manager and they gave me work as a secretary. So what did I do? I started just going to all the meetings and volunteering. Anytime an assignment came up, a question came up, there was an action that needed to be taken, I was the first to volunteer. I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. And that's serving, that's being invisible. I didn't power aggressively, oh, you're not giving me control, you're not letting me do my job, you're not. No, I started being invisible, helping people, and then I became an asset. People started coming to me to be able to get things done. And I became a go-to person, and that's what you call the next stage would be, you know, emergence. You know, you start doing more. People come in, you have more interactions, you start talking. You start to, if you're in business, you start to sell whatever your product is. You start telling people more about your service. Let's say when you started your business, Annie, as a relationship architecture, at the beginning you were building, you were asking questions. What do people need? Who can I serve? Who can I help? What do they need? And then you started to offer, okay, this is my solution to your problem. This is what I'm doing. And then start really emerging and starting to sell and go out there. If you have a mission, start talking about your mission. You know, one of the things that we support as a group is an organization, K2 Foundation, which they support education in Africa, in Nepal, in South America, in Peru. So they start talking about it. We start talking about it to get people to get involved. You start off calm, invisible, and then you start to talk about whatever it is that you want to influence people with. But as not demanding, but getting the message out there, right? That's startup leadership.
And now they've been doing the education in one country and moved into other countries, and now they've stepped up even more. Where now they're actually doing fundraisers to helping women against sexual abuse in these countries. So that's really good. And you know, like we just published a book recently. How many of us? 9 of us? 8 of us? Right?
8 of us.
8 of us, and all the proceeds from the book sales go to this organization that is helping women in those situations and educating them to understand more. Right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's great, and that's how we all contribute and help each other. Sure. Because we are emerging. We are all emerging now and becoming much, much more visible.
Right.
So we're using that emergence to add value, more and more value.
As much as possible. But then when you get there, you start selling your product, saying your word, talking about it, what you're doing to everybody and anyone, that's emergence. Then you start to get a little bit of chaos. Yeah, I wrote it down. Chaos is the third step. Because you've been talking so much about it and trying to influence people and getting the word out there that people are starting to turn to you to get advice, to get help, What can I do? How do you do this? They start asking you questions, where at the beginning when you were invisible, you were asking the questions. Now people are asking you, and things get a little bit chaotic. What happens at that point? It's when you start to build systems. Not everything has to be on your shoulders. Part of leadership is actually delegating and getting help.
Well, I think the chaos has just happened in my life a little bit right now, and to the point that somehow my ribs moved, so I can't really move my right arm. And I go, how in the world could I, how you say, displace ribs?
Ribs. I never heard of that before.
Yeah. Well, Linda actually told me she had that, and when I told her what the pain is, she goes, I think your ribs are out of line. And I'm going, what? And anyway, I went to the chiro, and that's what he said. So there's a little bit of chaos because there's the book, and then there's the coaching, and then there's the webinars, and then there's the videos, and there's quite a lot going on. So there's a bit of chaos, and I can see how important it is to have really streamlined systems, right? So, and thanks to you, I actually moved from my kitchen table I created an office space. And I can tell you, I'm so comfortable in my new chair with my table. I am loving this. So there's, like they say, the eye of the storm. So there's a bit of chaos, but there's always goodness that comes out of it. So it's how you deal with that pressure. This is when leadership comes up. You can really crack it and have a go at everybody, or just go, okay, what do I do now? But you still need to be able to deal with it. So I go to boxing and I punch the crap out of that bag.
I hope that after you're punching the crap out of the kickbox, the lead, that you come home and think about, okay, now how am I going to organize it? So
I actually do that.
Make an organization out of the chaos that will work. And a good thing about that chaos, that it brings you to have to create systems, have to create ways to take care of this problem again and again and again. And when you do that, if you do it well, and you should get help to do it if you need help, then you come into what we call normal. Everything's running, the systems are working, it's nice, your relationship with your family is good, your business is making money, your kids are settled and organized in school, in their after programs, so life is good. Then what happens in that normal state a lot of times? Us people who are, I have a lot of, we were talking it earlier about doing, when we did our podcast this morning.
Complacency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Complacency. So what I want to ask is that those that are watching, while we're doing this, why don't you put in a comments box, where are you right now in your world?
Invisible, emergence, chaos, normal, and there's two more that we're going to do before we go on to the next subject. So what happens in normal, and that's what happened to me about 2 years ago. Normal, I had already systems. I knew how to generate money in my business, what was going on, methodology was working, had clients, had coaches working for me, my kids were happy, life was good. And I got a little bit bored. Okay, what now? What am I going to do? What am I going to do now? Is this it? That was kind of like my feeling. Is this it? And then what could be a normal tendency is, to like walk away. It's working, so let me go find something else. But then you have a chance of really falling. That's what happened to me. I started to go down because I wasn't focused anymore on what was going on, what was working, what was normal. So when you get to that normal state, don't go away. Don't go away. Stay with it. Start measuring. Stop something what we call optimizing. It's working. Okay, how could it work just an incremental bit better? What else can I do here? How could I mix it up a little bit so you have measuring and optimization where it can be fine-tuned. And then when you get to that fine-tune and everything really starts to be working at maximum capacity, and it can be done easy at this point because you already have systems, then you get to the next level, which is
I'm so glad you're my coach and you can help me with all that. You've been
Yeah,
there. So
baby.
you can say, I need to just go do that and I go do it.
We get
Abundance.
to abundance.
Oh my God, that word just keeps on coming up all the time as of late.
Tell
Mm.
us about it.
Well, it's really interesting when I started finance coaching with Mindy. So what we did is we looked at what are my values around money. And the first one that came up for me was abundance. And then she asked me, what's abundance? And I go, well, it's having more of. And then she said, well, and I go, do you want me to look up the definition? She goes, no. She goes, I'm going to tell you my definitions. And then she goes, my definition is satisfaction and appreciation. And it was like, wow, satisfaction. So to feel satisfied with what you have and not be in need and appreciate what you have. So just be okay with it, not want more. And then Mindy said to me, she goes, now you need to go and get rid of stuff that you don't use. And I was like, what? She goes, clean out your cupboard, clean out. And I'm like, oh my God, but I like my things. And she said, yeah, have you used them in the last 12 months? No. So you need to get rid of them because that means that you're living in a place of limitation, not a place of abundance. So the thing is, I'll never use them again because fashions change, life changes, my body shape has changes. So I look at them wistfully like, oh, I wish I could fit into that again. I can't go past my knees, let alone fit into it again. So I kind of went, good, okay, time to let it go. And as I started to let go of things, I started feeling this freedom, and I go, okay, there's room for stuff to come in, and knowing that if I want to buy something, I can go and buy something, not sit there going, oh my God, how many pairs of shoes do I need, right? So I really understood that I don't want to live in a place of limitation. I've got to live in an environment where I know that I can get it anytime. So that environment has to be in here, that knowing in here and these two need to be congruent. And this is how I understand, Mindy, what you explained to me, is that I got to feel that I can get things whenever I want to and not be afraid that I might not have the money to buy it. But I need to make space for new information and knowledge to come in, and also more space for more clothes because I have clothes in 2 bedrooms. So freedom, it's a freedom, you know.
Amazing. Give it up for Annie. Woo! High five, Annie. That was
Thank
great.
you. Thank you. Did I explain that okay?
You explained it super well. Super well. Thank you.
Beautiful.
So what happens when you get to creating influence, in our journey to create influence, you get to a state of abundance where, it's all there. Life is really good. It's flowing. Everything is nice. There is that tendency that even you are speaking about now with abundance to spend, to go into spending mode, overspending. Everything is so good that I'm going to spend. And that actually comes from a thought process of limitation. Might as well use it now to buy everything in the world so that, well, it lasts. It's like not believing that it can continue to be so for a long time. So people start to really spend money. But this is the time to say, okay, what are my goals? What is my big mission in life? How do I use that money to forward, go make further the mission that I want to have? How do I reinvest it to go to the next step, to the next level? We talked about boredom in the normal area, but here when you get after abundance and start to go forward, now you have the resources to make things really happen, and that's the time when you actually get into, Blair calls it, what color am I going to use here?
No, Christine just posted, it's about balance in your life. Yeah, it is about balance. Thank you, Christine.
So we get to after abundance and you start to really laser focus your resources, because now you have the time, you have the money, you have the systems that support you, you have the team behind you. That's the time when you really come into your power and your influence. So
Mm.
how many of you want to be more influential? Write it down here in the side. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. How many of you think that your mission is so important that it would really change the world for a lot of people, change people's reality for the better?
definitely, definitely. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So, like Annie says, say where you are, and you can mark down where you are on the chart, on the hierarchy of from invisible to power, and where your focus is going to be right now. You can say where you are or where you're going to focus right now to actually move up and have the influence to get your message out there to the world and actually make your environment a better place. And that's our goal here in Women Leading into the Future, to help people step into their power, choose the leadership style that fits them as individuals, as human beings, fits them, and from there to actually be mission oriented. And I think that's also a very feminine type of thing. You know, we've got a greater goal. We want things to be better. So what do you want to be better? How do you want it to be better? And make the plan and do it step by step. And the third thing that we talked about here, I see we're coming up on the hour slide presentation. I want to remind everybody of the topics we're discussing today. You know, we talked about how to step into your power, how to increase your influence. And here, the last thing that we want to address tonight is how to never be afraid of taking the lead. Okay? And I think that's super important because from my experience, from whose experience?
your experience.
Thank you. From my experience, when you are clear about who you are, that your integrity with your values, you're clear about what your mission is, what your purpose in life is, then I think the fear kind of like slips away. When you're in a state of non-clarity, I don't even know if there's a word for that. If you're a state of confusion about where you fit, what you want to do, what happens, then a lot of little voices can come up. I'm not good enough. I'm not happy enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know how. All these little voices come up. So I think that one of the things that you can do in order to reduce the fear, you know, I think sometimes fear can be a good thing, but we want to reduce it or control it or limit it in some way, is to really be very, very clear on what your most definite purpose is. And that if you have a plan, clarity in how you are going to achieve it, how you're going to move from invisible to influence, if you have a clear plan, then the fear factor kind of like
Yeah.
kind of goes away. What do you think, Annie?
No, I think so. I agree.
Another thing that can help a lot with fear, and this is where you spoke about it a lot in today's call, is the idea of working with like-minded people. You know, when you're working in a group and you're sharing what's going on with you, and you hear, like if I'm sharing some kind of obstacle I'm facing in my life, in my home, in my work, whatever, and I share it with you, Annie, and I share it with Stephanie, and I share it with the other women on our team, then you guys give me advice. You know, you say, I've done this and this is how it worked. And I've done this and this is how it worked. And you give me encouragement and you're people that I can share my successes with. And every time I share a success, even if it's a little something that I did, you guys are also, woo, yeah, ah, high five. You know, you brings the energy up and it makes me more confident to go on to the next step, even if the next step is something that I might have never done before, like doing a webinar, Annie.
Yeah. So
So
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna move to the next step.
okay, so I will move to the next step because we're towards the end, but I really think that is important. If you want to reduce your fear, it's really important to be centered, who you are, where you're going, and get a team for support. How many of you want to learn more about how you or how we can help you build that team that can support you? You can write down here in the chat. I do. Okay. So thank you. First of all, thank you. How many of you learned something today? That's another question.
Yeah, put something in the comments
Yeah,
box.
whatever you have learned, if you can write it down in the comments, that'll be really good.
Put learn.
Um,
Put the word learn in the comments box below.
you can learn.
Christine,
You can also say
Christine,
what you
our
learned.
influence. Yeah, go girl.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm going to share my screen because we have something really special we want to offer you today. Now, where do I do that? Share my screen. Can you see that?
Thank you, Christine. It's coming.
Yanni, can you see? I can't see you anymore.
I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, so we wanted to share with you a mastermind that we have actually to really support other women in doing exactly what we're talking about today, stepping into your power, getting a team together, and really creating your destiny. So the mastermind is called Create Your Own Destiny. And the whole idea and the whole concept came about because each one of us in our team and women leading into the future, have been in that place of confusion, of chaos, of a little bit of frustration, a little bit of feeling stuck in our lives. And we didn't know what to do. What can we do? So we kept on doing the same thing over and over and over until each one of us got in our own little path, we got to personal development. And when we started working on ourselves and becoming more clear about who we are, what's important for us, and where we want to go, then the magic started to happen. Then we started to work in teams, in mastermind teams, in group teams, in BSTA. Anytime we can get a group together, we were there, just so we can bounce ideas off of one another, a mentor, get ideas from other people, use other people as mentors, follow suit, learn what people are doing, and then do it in our own lives. That's when we started to grow. That's when we started to grow so much that in our own lives, here, Annie in Australia, me in Israel, Simone in Italia, Hannah in Brazil, we're all over the place. We started to develop our own teams that were supporting us in our own individual missions. And that's when the growth really happens. That's when you're able to influence and get out there. So what we did is we created a mastermind that we can help you, get that kind of clarity. Your dreams, we all know what we want to do. We all know in our core how we want to live. If you close your eyes, just imagine for a second, what does your dream life look like? I'm sure that you know. But what happens is most of us don't live our dream life because we might be afraid of failure, afraid of rocking the boat, afraid of what they're going to think about us, afraid that I might be wrong or I'm not smart enough or I don't know how, and all this shit that happens in our head and stops us from doing it. But the good news is that if you can dream it, you can actually achieve it. And with the right mindset, the right people, the right support, the right things will happen. And that's the place where you can be the best version of yourself. And in the mastermind, that is exactly what we do. We help you create an action plan to achieve things that will have the biggest impact in your life. Not mundane things, not just regular things, but to think out of the box. What are those few things that will actually have the biggest impact on your life and help you in the quickest way reach the lifestyle that you want to lead?
Can I just say something here in relation to this? Because I met you in a mastermind where you talked about marketing, and everything you said was everything that I was thinking about that I needed to do, but I didn't know how to voice it. I didn't know how to explain it to somebody. And I spoke to many sort of digital marketing people and this, that, and the other, but I could never put forward what I needed. And then I'm sitting in this mastermind and it's just rolling off your tongue and I'm going ding, 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 ding. And then I went, and it was for the first time ever in my life that I rang you and I said, I don't know you, but I want to work with you. Where do I sign? I've never done that in my life. I always thought about it, procrastinated and this and that. And what happened, and that's why I said at the beginning, I think I said at the beginning that you changed my life, is because through the processes that you create, that you have through your own methodology, you took me through them. I created my systems, I created my process, and I created my own methodology, which means that I created a business And now I have been coaching people and couples and through my own methodologies. So it works. Like, you're not paying me to say this. I'm paying you to help me do it. So the thing is, I really what do you say, I vouch for this kind of work. You got to have people that can help you. So it's almost like somewhere where you can just surrender all that madness in your head, all that where you go, okay, and allow somebody else to say, blah, 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 blah. Does it work for you? Yeah. No. Okay, let's look at something else. And I think that's why it's important to join a group and be part of a group where you have that there's already a system where they're going to teach you what is it that, first of all, what is it that you need. We all need the same thing in our businesses, really. We need systems, we need sales, we need marketing, and that's it. Yeah. We know what we know, but we don't know the rest. And that's why a lot of businesses are not going anywhere, because all that is missing.
Right.
So you can go back to the other one. I thought I'd just do a testimonial here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm back here at the mastermind.
Yeah.
But that's it. The mastermind is here to help you create the plan. You're going to work intimately, a small team. We're only allowing 8 people in the mastermind so that everyone can have an opportunity to share their own information, get one-on-one support. Okay? And we're going to hold you accountable to moving you forward along the way and support you at 100%. And more than that, you're going to be working with all of us. There are 10 of us, coaches and mentors and women leading into the future. And we deal with subjects of relationships, family, career, finances, health, and personal growth. And we are going to coach you one-on-one, your things. It's not for theory. You're not going to here learn theory and, okay, go home and have to decide how you're going to implement that in your life. We are going to help you, be with you, support you to do the steps so you can quickly move on to live the life of your dreams here and now, not in a year from now, not in 5 years from now. Okay, the mastermind that we are creating is not for everybody. So that's very important. The 8 people who come into this group are 8 people who really understand that it is up to them to create the life that they want, to be the person that they want to be. It's up to them to take steps to be the leader and become proactive at home, at work, and in the community. We're looking for people in this mastermind, women who want to work in a team of like-minded people. The team is really important. The team is actually the basis for success.
Yeah.
Okay? Because that is what we want to do. We want you to have success. And the fastest and quickest way to get to success is to work with a group of people that who are knowledgeable, with mentors, people who have done it already and will share with you and guide you and hold you accountable to being the best that you can be. That's our mission. So the mastermind itself is a 10-week intensive mastermind with all of us women leading into the future, coaches and mentors.
So I just want to interrupt for a minute. I just want to say thank you, acknowledge the people that are still on. We've just gone a little bit over, so we just have another 5 minutes. So if you're happy to stay on, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, in the mastermind, you're going to discover how to define your most definite purpose and become crystal clear about your next step. Remember, I told you to step into your power, you need first clarity. You're going to create an easy step-by-step plan that is achievable in 6 months and get results that you want quickly. You're going to learn how to overcome obstacles along the way, obstacles that prevent you from, that bring you down and take you off track. You're going to discover how to create a team and get support that you always needed. You are not alone. And you're going to discover how to develop your leadership style and lead with confidence and conviction. You can say goodbye to the doubts about what you do and what your capabilities are. Say goodbye to the fear about failure and about what other people think about you. Say goodbye to your worry about your family and your future. Say goodbye to having to do everything on your own. And say goodbye to being alone and isolated in your desire to make a better life. Here you have an opportunity to save a lot of time and a lot of money by working in a team that has already been there, already done that, and is going to focus on your issues, on how to help you here and now take the next steps, get clarity, and take the next steps in order to lead and to create that support system in your local environment as well. You know, we said before that we as women, we think differently. Different things motivate us. We have different priorities and responsibilities, and we need different resources. That's why this is a mastermind of women for women. This is the real deal. In the mastermind, you're going to get the mastermind itself, which is 10 meetings. We're going to focus on what your real life is, whether it be business, relationships, career, wealth, family. What your issue is, that's the issue that is going to bring you to your mission. You know, that one of those key, most definite purpose that's going to have the most influence in your life. We'll be working on that at weekly meetings for 10 weeks. There'll be recordings available if you cannot make the time frame so that you can be part of it. But we are going to hold you accountable to taking part and participating, whether it's live or whether it's recorded, because the accountability is what's going to make you move forward. You also get 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with the coaches in our team and Women Leading into the Future. You choose what the subject is, you choose who the coach is, and you get those sessions, real sessions, not talking about a strategy call, talking about a real coaching session, which will accelerate your growth, your commitment, your plan, and bring you to the next level. And if that wasn't amazing enough, you have one more thing that you're going to get. You get free 2-month membership into our membership site. We have a training site that has recordings of all our webinars, our trainings, articles that we're writing, all things to support you in being the person you want to be, being the pest that you want to be, having the tools to learn and grow, things that you can implement into your life. And here you have 2 months free. The total value of the program, discover how you want to be the best version of yourself, to create your destiny mastermind, total value of $3,214.90 US dollars. You get something that will change your life forever. Even if you got just focus in your life, clarity on what your plans are, wouldn't it be worth the $3,214? And even if you're just going to get the support of other people to help you be focused on your mission and hold you accountable, wouldn't that be worth the $3,214? And let's say we go even further and we say you are actually becoming a leader and creating your own team. Wouldn't that be worth the $3,214? It absolutely would. To change your life, it's invaluable. And to get the support from women, leading women, will get your mindset is also invaluable. But today, only for those of you here who are in this webinar, we have a special offer. Today we're going to offer you something special because it's the first time we were offering a mastermind in this super intimate and intensive format. So today, if you sign up for the mastermind, and you have the link here over on the side, sign up to create your own Destiny Mastermind and receive all the bonuses for a value of $3,214.90. You're not going to pay $3,214.90. You're not even going to pay half of that, $1,607.45. But only today, only for you who are here in this webinar and for the next 12 hours, because this webinar is open for 12 hours because of the time differences, only today you can join the mastermind for $999 only. And you get the 10 sessions mastermind with all of the coaches and Women Leading into the Future. You get 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with the coach mentor of your choice to help you really deep dive and change, accelerate your growth process and your leadership process. And you get 2 months free in our online training site. All of that for a value of $3,200 and change. You're getting only for $999 alone, because it is the first time we're going to be offering this in first summer we go offer this program. So how many of you want to go to the next level in your life?
Say I in the comments box below.
Say I. And how many of you want to be a leader and influence your environment to create a better lifestyle for everyone around you? Thank you. And how many of you understand that as a group, working in a team on your mission is going to move you forward faster, more effectively, and in an easier and happier fashion? How many of you understand that? So don't hesitate. We've offered you the lowest price possible so that the money will not be an issue. And that you can join us and join Women Leading into the Future to be the leader, to step into your power, to have influence, be on target for your mission, and create your own destiny. So
with that, we've come to the end of our show, of our session, and hope that you guys got lots out of it. Those of you that are watching the replay, if you have any questions or anything like that, please make sure that you send us a message, and we'll be able to address your questions. And yeah, Mindy. So thank you.
I think it was a great webinar. Thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions, there's still people here. Questions, this is the time to ask them. Other than that, I look forward to seeing 8. How many of that fingers is that? 8. 8 of you in the mastermind. Okay, those of you who really want to change, create, not even change, to create something bigger and better and nicer. I look forward to seeing you in the webinar, in the mastermind. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Annie, for stepping up and being the true leader that you are in the last minute. I appreciate it. Lots and lots.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye.